why don't you tell about your stories in which you really failed? And the
Okay.
failures were, I pressure cooked a brinjal without water, and you
Oh
can
my God.
imagine what would have happened in kitchen. I have
Yes.
done
Yes.
that, okay?
Oh my God. Oh
I
my
have
God.
I have done that, and I think that was like the first month of my marriage, and I did that, and thankfully there was nobody in the kitchen facing that blast in the kitchen, and I have I've done all sort of things, like I did not know how to knead a dough, I did not know a lot of things about cooking a dal. So when I
Hmm.
go ahead and teach these things to kids, and I share these stories with the mothers, just to
Hmm.
tell them that, see, I've personally faced these challenges in my life, and
Hmm.
I feel, it kind of just, this should not happen with people, because cooking is a life skill, and it is not whether you're a girl or a boy, you should know it.
Hmm.
Everybody should know it, so that you can at least cook food for yourself.
Hi guys, welcome to the WeTransform show, a show where we meet real life transformers and know their stories in the first person, because we believe we all can transform and there is no right or wrong time for transformations. Today our guest is Rakshita Dwivedi, or someone who is popularly known as RD. She is a food entrepreneur and she is the founder and chief eating officer of Recipe Dabba. Rakshita is empowering young kids with healthy food choices. She runs a very healthy eating program for kids, and there are multiple awards and recognition which she has got for Recipe Dabba. So we'll know a lot about her and her story today. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Rakshita to the show. Rakshita, welcome to the show today.
Thank you so much, Alok. I'm so looking forward to this. First of all, when you invited me for this, I was like, okay, am I the right person for this? So that itself took me some time. So yes, thank you so much. I'm kind of overwhelmed already being part of this, and you're doing amazing work, Alok. And being here itself makes me feel great. So thanks once
Oh,
again.
thank you, Rakshita. Thank you. Rakshita, you totally deserve it. I'm telling you guys, I'm following Rakshita for some time now, and I can see that transformation. I can see that story. Rakshita brings some more than a decade of HR experience behind her, and that's what I was knowing her like, an HR lady. From there, moving into food and slowly bringing this recipe dabba. We definitely would like to know more about that very soon. And then building upon it, Rakshita, I kind of, if I open Instagram, I may just get a notification that you're getting live, or if I go to FB, I see you in action. So you are all around, and that is so impressive.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad that at the end you said it's impressive, because some people feel it's very annoying now that I'm always around them. But yeah, I think, many times people also tell me that, my goodness, how do you get so much of time on being on social media? So all I tell them, this is my job. I have to be there, right? So I think,
Yes.
one has to just understand that, majority of my time goes on social media. Initially, people would actually tell me that, you know, don't you think you're wasting too much of time being out there?
Hmm.
But I would tell them that, see, I don't take it like a time wasting. For me, it's investment, right? So I'm trying to invest and channelize my energies in a right way, so that I can, later on bring in into whatever thoughts are in my mind, and whatever
Yes.
business maybe I'm trying to create through that. So I think, yeah, thank you so much. You said it's impressive. At least there's somebody who feels like that.
No, there are a lot of people who feel like that, Rakshita. And thing is that, see, I also understood social media, and I must say last 10 to 11 months only,
Yeah, yeah.
honestly, when we all were kind of locked down, literally, we all got a little hang of this. And it's true, you for social media to work for you, you have to show up every day. You have to kind of bring things to your audience. Otherwise, if you're coming once upon a time, it is great, but then people will forget you very soon. So I think what you're doing is a great work, and a lot of people should follow this and follow you. And we will definitely talk about more about social media very soon. But before
Sure.
we get into this whole understanding your work, let us understand your story. Where has your story started, Rakshita?
Okay. Now, this this already makes me feel like I'm sitting in an HR interview because this used to be my favorite question.
Okay.
How did it all start? So, well, for me, like, of course, I was an HR professional and, I was happy doing what I was doing. And, I, like any other person, I would have, dreamt of doing more in that, career. But, the first change happened in a good way, actually, when my son was born, because that was the time I took a career break. Uh, it was uh, it was just 10 or 11 months kind of a break which I had, and that was a time I thought that maybe I'm gonna just spend time with my with the new lifestyle which I am into, and spend more time with my son and trying to see what life brings in. Those times, of course, were very overwhelming because you're a new mother and you are like loaded with a lot of responsibilities, just two of us trying to manage everything without any help, etc., in a new city. But that also gave me a lot of time to explore my own self. I did a lot of writing. That was the first time I actually started a blog. And I still remember that blog was called, I still have that blog. It was called Me and Mumbai because, I was new in Mumbai. I was just trying to write my experiences in Mumbai as a mother, what was happening. So, and that was the time that, I started writing. And my first, intervention towards social media was that I started a blog. I figured out, okay, how do we do blogging, etc. And then there was a time when I felt, okay, I think enough of writing, enough of blogging, I should just go back to my job. But since my son was very young and I still wanted to be a hands-on mother. So I said, okay, I will take up a flexible job where I can just work from home. So that was the time I came across a lot of platforms. There's one platform which is very close to my heart. It's called Shiros, and they were actually flexi moms at that point of time. They were just starting. So, I in fact connected with the founder, Sairi Chahal, and she helped me get through Plug HR, where I've actually spent around 5-6 years working. So now Plug HR, why I always mention them in my story, because they have a huge impact on who I am right now.
Okay.
So, we did a lot of consulting on HR, and this was a platform which actually gave me, a free canvas to play around with the colors. Like I did so many, my roles kept changing. I started as a, HR person. I did hiring, I did resource management. I also ended up doing client-facing roles. I started, learning, a lot of things around marketing. There were times I would send emailers. So a lot of things like what you can think about running a small business. I could, I did all those roles with Plug HR. So there was a time, by the time I actually quit Plug HR, there was no role which was left to try it out. So that's what
It's
I
like you
told
can
my.
say literally, I
Yeah.
have been there, I have done that.
Yes, yes, so
Literally, yes.
literally. So in fact, when I was in Plug HR, that's when I started exploring social media more from employee engagement perspective. And so that's when the whole Twitter thing happened for me, me being part of, all the HR list and being a Twitter influencer in the HR segment. So that gave me a lot of confidence in terms of seeing myself beyond the regular HR role, which I always dreamt of. That okay, a 9 to 5 office job, and maybe I will do this, and maybe my career would be an HR director of a company, and things like that, which you generally start with. And
Yes.
eventually, I felt that okay, life is much beyond what I probably have seen, right? And that's where I started looking it from a different perspective. So that's when it started thinking that okay, why not to start something of my own, because everywhere wherever I met, the model was such that we were working very closely with SMEs, and I would meet a lot of founders, and I would hear their stories, and they were all so inspiring. I said, why can't I be one of them? Maybe I don't want to have a huge company as such, but maybe I can be a solopreneur and try to do something which can give me more happiness, and which is still which I can go on working. So I think that's how everything started. So, I did a lot of things before I, came to Recipe Dappa. I thought maybe I'll do HR consulting, I'll do social media consulting. I
Okay.
tried my hands on a lot of things. And
And you
eventually,
know what? It still shows up. And when I Google your name, to just find more about you, you were
yeah,
still showing up as social media consultant at one place in some
yeah,
website,
yeah,
and then
yeah, yeah.
somewhere you were a mompreneur and some award
Yes,
was there. So
yes, yes,
so
yes,
a lot
yes.
of stuff like that is still there out
Yes,
in the
yes,
media.
and in fact, there was a time when me and my husband we founded this. I don't know, this might not be even in Google now because we've closed that app. It was called List Your Groceries. So we were just trying to figure out what we can do. So we did. So I experimented a lot, and I think that's what I loved about this whole journey, that I could experiment so much. I had so many options in my hand to work around and see, okay, what will work for me. And eventually I realized that recipe dabba was working best for me, at least for now. And there's still because that for me is like, there's so much you can do in what it is right now, that I still feel that it's just the tip of the iceberg where I am right
Okay.
now. So
Yeah.
I can dig in more deep and do more stuff around that.
Yeah.
So that's where it all started, and
Wow.
that's how we've come in where I am right now.
Great. I think two things I picked from this your story is, first is, a lot of my listeners are from HR world and a lot of my friends are from HR community, and few of them do feel a little stranded in what they are doing, and they
Yeah.
must be thinking what to do. So guys, for you, here is an amazing, impressive story which we have of Rakshita coming out from that world with all that love she has for HR practices, and then making something of her own, slowly taking baby steps and taking it to the next level. And one more thing, what you said, that you experimented a lot. I think that's where is something, a message before all the people who want to become entrepreneurs. That sometimes, we see a person, we see you today, Rakshita, and a person who tries to build his own business or her business, they say, wow, how did Rakshita got this magic formula of recipe dabba? But people would not see that how many experiments she has done,
Yeah.
including grocery list and many
Yes.
other things,
Yes.
to reach there. And
Yes.
that's what we are sometimes afraid of.
Yeah.
If we are not afraid of experimenting, trying it out, failing, jumping back, bouncing back, rolling sometimes on the floor, and then maybe sticking to something which which works for us.
Yes.
I guess there is a great message here for all of us to learn, that yeah, keep trying different things. Something will work for you.
Yes, absolutely. So, first of all, thank you when you said young. I already feeling happy. So, yeah, yes, yes, you should keep trying. I think, failures always teach you so many things. And I think we all have our failures. It's just when we start talking about them, sometimes those failures, I think we should all talk about failures, because those
Yes.
failures can actually be inspiration and motivation for a lot of people who are scared. And just that many times we talk about our success stories, we don't tell about our failures. On this note, I want to tell you about this very funny thing which happened in my life.
Sure.
So I do these live cooking things, and I do so many things. Now I have been a very very bad cook. When I got married, I all the cooking which I learned was only when my son was born, and practically when I started recipe dabba. So
Don't tell me, you're just
yes.
opening up a different box right now. Oh my
Yes,
God.
so all the cooking, like that's the time I started reading cooking books, and I think I was my own customer, because I realized if I have this problem, then so the problem statement came from me myself, and then I
Yes.
realized this was so much common in a lot of colleagues of mine. So why not to do that? But now coming to the story, which is very funny, and when we were talking about failures, so I my in-laws were there, my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, they generally come and stay with us. So one of those days, my father-in-law told me that you keep sharing these recipes on your live channel, why don't you tell about your stories in which you really failed? And the
Okay.
failures were, I pressure cooked a brinjal without water, and you
Oh
can
my God.
imagine what would have happened in kitchen. I've
Yes.
done
Yes.
that, okay?
Oh my God. Oh
I
my
have
God.
I have done that, and I think that was like the first month of my marriage, and I did that, and thankfully there was nobody in the kitchen facing that blast in the kitchen. And I have I've done all sort of things, like I did not know how to knead a dough, I did not know a lot of things about cooking a dal. So when I go ahead and teach these things to kids, and I share these stories with the mothers, just to tell them that, see, I've personally faced these challenges in my life, and I feel it kind of just, this should not happen with people, because cooking is a life skill, and it is not whether you're a girl or a boy, you should know it. Everybody should know it, so that you can at least cook food for yourself, because there were days I was dependent on Maggie, as a food, or maybe just ready-made cereals as a breakfast, because I did not know how to cook, and that actually impacted a lot of my health during the initial days. So I think, so the funny part is that, I had to share those stories with my audience, and my father-in-law gave me that nudge that, no, you should go, because then
Yes.
that will connect more with people, that if somebody like you can learn cooking, then definitely anybody can. So that's what he said. If you can, then I'm sure anybody can learn
Anybody
cooking. So
can, but that's again very inspiring, Rakshita. See, like right now you are a food entrepreneur. People look forward to you, your amazing pictures and food recipes and all. And right now you're sitting here and telling about your biggest vulnerability. I think
yes.
how Brene Brown quote said, leaders who go vulnerable are the real leaders. So I think you are already in that space that you have the courage to share this. It's like, yes, that's amazing. Uh,
Yeah.
and
So yeah.
uh, and getting and was it a real blast? I'm just curious about that
It
brinjal thing.
was, it
Oh my
was.
god. Oh my god. You
It
have
was really
pictures?
a blast, yes. I know, I don't think so I had that phone to have it, or maybe I was in that. And I was all alone in my home, right? Because I
Oh
think,
my god.
yeah, I was all alone, and by the time I think my husband came and I told him, all he could do is like, I just hope that, I'm glad that you're safe, because if anything would have happened to you in the first month of the marriage, they would have
Yes.
said it is me who's to be blamed.
Yeah, you
So
never
I'm like,
know.
yeah, you never know.
Poor
I
guy
think.
getting held for domestic violence here. But no.
Exactly. So then he said, okay, I think, let me just get. So there was a lot of times that, in fact, my husband helped me learn cooking, and everybody. I mean, I think a lot of people in my family. Then, I thought, okay, let me just at least learn the basic cooking. I
Yeah,
did that, but when work takes a toll on you, you again go back to the same way. You would have your help doing things, and then things like that.
absolutely.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I did feel that, everybody should know cooking, because the kind of things which I went through, people should not do, at least for their own health. And
Yes.
yeah, and yeah, so
It's so
yes,
important, right?
it's very
Great,
important.
that's amazing to know about this, Rakshita. And now I want to know a little more about the recipe dabba. How did it came into concept, and how did you pick cakes? It's a little exclusive niche, if I may
Yeah,
say.
yeah, yeah.
Of course, a lot of food experts are out there, a lot of nutritionists are out there. So I want to know from you, where do you come, and what do you do with the cakes?
Yeah, so I think that's also again, work, to identify my niche. That also took me some time. I mean, I kept going back and forth. I said, okay, I'll do corporates. No, I'll do adults. I'll do this. I'll do that. Um, but I always realize that people who connect with me, they connect because I'm a mother. Okay,
Hmm.
and I'm a mother, and all my recipes which I initially, now of course I do a lot of other things also, but initially all the recipes which I would work on, they were all concentrated and focused on my own child. So that helped, me connect with a lot of mothers, and that was also, and so I thought, okay, fine, what exactly is the pain area? So this was 2017 initial, like
Okay.
March 2017 when we started this. That was the first time, the first workshop, Cook with RD. We call it Cook with RD. It's a registered workshop, a trademarked workshop. And we said, okay, and my husband always helps me on the, brainstorming part and consulting me from the back end, and, the technology part. So, one of these days we were just, thinking that, okay, what do I do with Recipe Dabba? Now I have these recipe blogs and other things. And how do I make a business out of it? So the first thing which people think about, when they think about recipes, is that you're a blogger or a recipe developer or an influencer.
Yeah.
The couple of things with, okay, you can do this, or you can start a YouTube channel. Okay, or another part was that you can be a home chef. Okay, so I think there were a couple of options which were in front of me, and none of them were actually clicking me. I said, there's nothing unique which I will be able to do with this. Maybe I'll be doing it. There are so many other people, and there's so much of competition already.
Yes.
Maybe I'll not be able to, have my own mark. So, I said, okay, one thing I'm very clear, that for me, this is more than a business. It is a cause. Okay, it should be something which should give me happiness every day. It should be something that I can do day in and day out, whatever the scenario is, whatever the situation is, and
Yes,
I should be enjoying it. If it is
absolutely.
not happening with me, then I think that's not what I'm into. So
Hmm.
like I said in recipe dabba, I tried a lot of things, right? I tried food boxes. Okay, I've tried food boxes for kids. I for sometimes I did it, and then I didn't enjoy it. I did birthday parties. Okay, that was not clicking to me. And like that, couple of things I did, and
Mm-hmm.
none of them were like something which I could enjoy. Then I said, okay, maybe somewhere, because I like so much of experimenting, how about creating these workshops? And I knew that the problem area, because now that I'm meeting a lot of mothers, the problem area was about kids not eating properly, and of course
Hmm.
not eating healthy, because and we can't always blame the kids. There's so many parameters, because the more you dig in and you realize that there's so many parameters which are affecting the whole eating pattern of a child.
Mm-hmm.
And so then we said, okay, let's start with this cooking workshop, and cooking with a difference in the sense that we will only make sure that whatever the cooking is done, it's healthy. So we'll
Hmm.
not use like processed food, we'll not use those mayonnaise and ketchups, which can be easy, and we'll of course go with the no fire cooking module. Now,
Okay.
no fire itself, when you talk about cold cooking, you start using a lot of processed food, right? So,
Yes,
so the
right.
whole so the whole innovation was creating those recipes which are no fire and
Hmm.
still healthy, and they have to
Hmm.
be still interesting for the kids to try it out. So we
Right.
tried that model, and that worked, very beautifully for me at least. And I think that was the time I was based in Navi Mumbai. So,
Mm-hmm.
one thing led to the other, and there are a lot of group, schools and activity centers who started tying up, because there were not many such classes running at that point of time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I was very happy, every weekend, Saturday, Sunday. I mean, there was a time, Alok, I never loved working on weekends, and now there's a time I only work on weekends. So,
Wow.
yeah, and I enjoy working on weekends. So I tell people, if you have to do anything, just do it on a weekday, because
Hmm.
weekends are busy for me. So,
Hmm.
yeah, so that's how it picked up. And then, like I said, one thing led to another. So
Mm-hmm.
workshop hua, then we said, okay, let's go deeper. Even when we are doing cooking workshop, kids are still not eating healthy. Then what is the problem? Then we
Right.
came up with a food challenge. Okay, then we said, okay, let's work on the habit changing.
Mm-hmm.
We tried to gamify the whole concept of they not eating junk food, rather eating healthy food. So
Okay.
we run that program every 3 months, and we have huge lot of kids who come up again every 3 months,
Wonderful.
to join that program. Then we started kitchen challenge. Now we're also working on a food science session workshop for kids, where we explain them that how there are a lot of science workshop which happens, but nobody gets into the deep food part of it, like
Yes. How does food
how,
work?
yeah, so how the food works into your kitchen, how the yeast works. So that's a lot of science. So I think the whole idea is to learn from your kitchen. There's so much you can learn from the kitchen, and every child will have a different idea of. So not everybody would like cooking. Okay,
Hmm.
some kids like cooking, but some kids like the science part of it. So whatever suits you,
Hmm.
it will expose you towards kitchen. And
Yeah.
once you are exposed towards kitchen, you will at least learn something about it, and you will
Yeah.
not be you know trying to cook an eggplant in a pressure cooker without water.
Yes, absolutely. And what a yes, you should not. At least, yeah. So, so what a great place to be, Rakshita. You know why? Because so many of us, like I have grown up in the 80s and 90s, and I remember for us, food was given.
Yeah.
Food has come to the plate, and you eat and you enjoy. You start playing, and never we thought about what is getting in the food. Now then we grow up and one day we find, oh, we are overweight, and then suddenly somebody says, you know what, cut all the carbs, go to the
Yeah.
protein diet,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
you are doing it, and suddenly after 6 months somebody says, you know what, carbs are very important,
Yeah.
you should take little bit. And then you are super confused, what the hell is happening, what should I
Correct.
do, should
Correct.
I eat
Correct.
egg or egg white or what? Now
What?
people should know all of these things, and there's so much knowledge needed. No, I was
Correct.
just searching about these cooking videos, and as you said that of course there is a market for everything.
Yeah.
There was a video in YouTube, and it was in Hindi. कि आटा कैसे गूंथें,
हाँ.
how do you make a dough.
हाँ.
It has some millions of views, millions rolling.
Yes,
Oh
yes,
my
yes.
God, it's such a need. Now we don't
Yeah.
take it for so seriously, but
Yes,
then there is a
yes.
huge demand.
Huge
And even the quality of video is not very awesome. It's like very simply done video,
Yes, yes,
but then it's just rolling and rolling.
Yeah,
It's getting
yeah.
viral. So
Yes,
need
yes.
is there. People really want that. We
Correct.
have been away from the kitchen for some reason, but
Yeah.
then we can't stay away from it. We have to eat. Not that's a
Yes,
basic necessity of life.
absolutely, absolutely. And I think these times of lockdown has actually taught it in a very hard way that,
Yeah.
we have to do it ourselves. We have to, know those basics. Because now we're all confined to our homes. Most of us don't even have helps at our homes. So we're all
Yes.
doing it ourselves. And, the beauty is that now that you're doing it yourself, you are able to do it. It's not that you don't, I mean, people are working from home.
Right.
They're managing their kids. Managing, matlab, they have kids at home only. There's no way you can actually look for an
You
other
cannot.
option.
And the another thing, Rakshita, two things, when you're talking about lockdown in this situation. One, suddenly we all have a realization that the fight with this virus was all about a fight between the immune system and the virus.
Correct.
We don't have much role to play. And the immune system was not made today. It
Yeah.
was made because of what we ate throughout
Correct.
our lives, how we did our, what was the lifestyle, how happy we are, what is the workout routine. And suddenly people are realizing, oh my God, I've been ignoring this. And suddenly health has really come to the surface again.
Correct.
For those who realize, of course, there would be a
Correct.
set of people who would not give a heed to it and they will go on like that.
Correct.
So great moment to understand that yes, understanding nutrition, understanding food is important. And second, summer vacations are here. Of course,
Yeah.
there is a virtual learning which is happening. Kids,
Correct.
managing kids and their energy, especially I have a 8, 9 years old in the house, so I can tell you what happens. Managing her energy is so difficult.
Yes.
They're so energetic. They have so much to do. So all these little toddlers, what would they do? It's a great idea to go and do a cooking workshop and learn about something positive. I think that's a great service to all those mothers who are really wondering what to do, and those mothers who are listening and fathers who are listening to the show, should get in touch with Rakshita to find out what they can do for their kids. So I think that's a great movement.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, in fact, because of the lockdown and the COVID, we went online, and now that we're online, there are this like the reach is across anywhere. In fact, I do get kids from Germany, sometimes the kids from Sweden, sometimes somebody is in Switzerland. There are a lot of Indian mothers who want their kids to still learn Indian recipes, so they would enroll for the programs. So yeah, so in a way, it helped me at least to reach out to more people. And now that we're online, I feel online is way to go ahead for a couple of years now.
Absolutely.
So the way it is. So yeah. So I'll be more than happy to have more parents reaching out to me. Thank
That
you
definitely.
for the
That's why I
shout
made
out.
the request. And one more thing I would like to know from you, Rakshita, is in what are you looking forward now? As in, if I say, what is Rakshita working on? How is the journey going? What do you see there?
Yeah, so Alok, if you ask me, I don't have very huge plans for myself because the way I function, honestly, like the kind of person I am, the kind of experiments I do, I always plan for yearly programs. Like I know, okay, this year I have these programs and I want to run it. My ultimate goal, of course, would be to reach out to more and more kids. For example, till now we would have catered around 2,000 plus kids in different programs. So my ultimate goal, because and this was there was a time when we were trying to reach out only in Mumbai because that was I was locally present in Mumbai. But now
Right.
being online, we intend to reach out to more and more such kids, and have more and more people enroll for the programs and to understand the whole value. So
Yeah.
for me, if I look as a for as a when I look at a participant now, for me that participant, if he or she starts understanding from whichever program they are picking up, they can pick up, because anyways any program which we do will touch base on healthy foods only, in a different manner, without, because see, if I tell you that okay, you sign up for 21 days no junk food challenge, some of the kids will just say no. Okay. But if I tell a child, okay, let's do the cook with Adi, the cooking part, okay, or let's just do the food science part, they would not understand the junk food part of it, at least on the face of it. But eventually they
Right.
will learn that part only. So the whole idea is that a child should be able to differentiate about, from a healthy food from an unhealthy food, and should be able to make that choice. For me,
Right.
if a child understands that, then that's the job done right. Now,
Wonderful.
whether those choices are available or not, that's not in my hand, right? That's in the hand of the parent, right? So of course my program also works a lot with the parents, because we just can't have the child. In fact, that's what the beauty of the online programs are, that I have now even the parents involved with me. In the
Wow.
offline programs, only the kids would come up, okay? I would do hajar things, I would teach them so many things, and they would go back happily with all the recipe books, trying out recipes, and then it'll all go down the drain, because the parents would not even provide them with those ingredients, right? Because that
And
was not
and the
available.
evening the papa says, let's order pizza, and everything is
Exactly.
sorted then.
Oh, on that note, you would not believe. That's what exactly I'm, glad that you brought in that point. We were running this challenge, okay, and there was one of the child who was actually, so now we have a scorecard, okay, when we do
Mhm.
this 21 days junk food challenge, and we do the daily scoring. There was one child who was, somehow every day he would eat up junk, and in spite of me trying to make sure, motivate him, etc., it wasn't working. So I called up the mother. I said, you know what's wrong, like why is the child, so the fun thing is we tell the parents that these are the foods you should not have in your house, at least for the challenge, because
Yeah.
you can't have the have the food in front of the child and expect them not to eat it.
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to. So ultimately when we do the challenge, we make sure that even the parents are going through it, because you can't just have the child going to the 21-day
Yes.
challenge. So this, so then she said, I try my level best, but it is the father who every day brings in a chocolate home. Like, अरे यार तूने पूरे दिन जंक नहीं खाया, चल एक चॉकलेट खा ले.
Oh my God.
And poor child, he would look at the mother and then take the chocolate and eat it. And then mother is like, at least he's honest, he tells me. I said, yeah, I appreciate that, but the whole aspect of we trying to curtail, so that's what happens, even
Yes.
at times. So we can teach them, but it's a holistic process. I mean, the whole family gets involved. So yeah, we do get a lot of kids, lot of time the mothers come to me that say, mera bachcha to healthy bilkul nahi khata, is a very picky eater. And when you dig in deep, you will find the problem is not the child. We always blame
Yes.
the child. We don't see the whole family eating habit, and it's not right always to blame the children,
Yeah, and
when
see,
the
they are
solution.
mirrors, there are reflections. What is happening
Exactly.
in the house would happen to them. They
Yes,
don't learn it
absolutely.
from somewhere else. This is
Yes.
what they do. They just
Correct,
mirror us.
correct. So that's what, and I think as adults we should be learning from them that if at times when children behave in such a nice manner, to try to at least control themselves, as adults we should try to help them and not even encourage them to eat such things. I mean, it's always good, like I always tell,
Yeah.
junk food is an emergency food, and you should celebrate at times with it. It's not that you
Yes.
can just cut down it from your life, but please don't make it a habit, right? So try to curtail on that. So yeah,
That.
going forward, that's what my plan is, trying to touch more lives and trying to encourage more kids, so that they can differentiate between these things.
Wow, wonderful. I wish this episode helps you reach more kids and more parents, and of course help them. So guys, I'm gonna share her details right here. You can follow her different media. She's available. Rakshita, before we end this session, I want to take one healthy tip for the kids from you. What would that be? If you want to give one tip for this time to the kids.
Oh well, one kid. If you ask me, I always tell everybody and even kids that read your food before you eat your food.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that you should always, like, not just literally reading. Of course, we teach reading also to kids. Is that when you're picking up a ketchup, okay? So
Mm-hmm.
even if you're eating ketchup, try to go ahead and start reading what is in the ketchup. At least you will understand that there's a word called sugar into that. So we all know that sugar word is not that a great word, at least when it goes in the packaged food. So when you're looking at your food, when the food is being served to you, when I say reading your food, that means see what is in the food. Is there a dal? Is there rice? Is there roti? Has mama given you some papad? Has she given you some chutney? So you
Yeah.
understand. What happens is, like, if you're on a screen, you would never read your food. All you
Yes.
will do is look at the screen and eat the food, right? So you're not
Hmm.
reading your food. So
Absolutely.
when we say read your food before you eat your food, is that try to understand what you're drinking. ask those. I know those questions sometimes come back to me many times, and I'm like, okay, I can't answer you a lot of questions, but you should always ask questions. Okay, if your mother has made something to you, so ask her, what has she added into this? If this is a mango shake, what all has she added in the mango shake? Has
Hmm.
she added sugar? Has she added jaggery? Has she added, what kind of mango has she added? Hafuz hai, the sherry hai, langda hai. Ask
Yeah.
those questions. That will help
Wow.
you understand food in a better way and from your own home.
That's interesting. I got a tip. Read your food, guys. That's the message for the day. Great, Surakshita. It was lovely talking to you. I think we had a wonderful conversation and people will love this one. Thank you so much for joining this show today and thank you so much for sharing such insights.
Thank you so much, Alok, for having me. And as I said, it was a great opportunity. I wish you all the best, and I wish We Transform goes to places. And I look forward to a lot of amazing guests on your show. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.